Welcome, listeners. Finally, after one long year of planning, researching, and getting ideas together, we are recording from our studio in Milan, one of the football capitals of the world. My name is Tommaso.
And my name's Ruairi, and you are listening to the Anglo-Italian Connection Football Podcast. And now it's time for the Euro Review. Hello listeners and welcome to the Euro Review. So every week we will be taking you around Europe, talking about the latest topics, results or stories coming out of the continent. So, of course, this week it has been the Nations League, which is the new competition. People are getting used to it, but especially England.
Why so?
Well, they had a bit of a slow week, I think, Well, most of the squad had a slow week, let's say. So they started off with a laboured win against Iceland after a last-minute penalty, a 90th minute penalty from Sterling, after Kane had a controversial goal disallowed with no VAR, weirdly, in Nations League. And England still endeavoured to throw the game away by giving away a penalty seconds after scoring theirs. But thankfully, the Icelandic player took one of the worst penalties I've ever seen. So we managed to run away with 3 points there. The big story, of course, being that Greenwood and Foden were very naughty boys.
What happened? Walk us through the story, please. You love some gossip.
It's all been documented on Twitter and Instagram for everybody to look up if you'd like. But I'm assuming they were lectured at length about not breaking lockdown protocol. But they decided on their first ever call-up to the full England squad, that they were going to invite two lovely ladies over to their hotel room.
That's one way to celebrate, right?
For a game of chess, I assume. And they got caught because the girls filmed every conversation. They screenshotted every message. And Foden has a girlfriend and a child who is now less than happy, I imagine. So it's kind of annoying that that's the main story that's come out of England in the Nations League. But they then managed to follow that up with a depressing 0-0 draw against Denmark, where, for me, the lineup was far too negative. Too many holding midfielders in a team that should be a lot more creative. Southgate tried to bring on Mason Mount, tried to bring on Grealish to change the game, but unfortunately it didn't really make a difference. So two kind of disappointing performances, but 4 points, you would look at that and think, not a bad week. But there's some work ahead for Southgate if he's going to integrate this team in time for the Euros next year. But Italy had a very different week, Tommy, eh?
Yeah, Italy had a different week. But before we delve into Italy, very quickly, in 30 seconds, why, whenever I look at England's lineup, it looks like a star-studded team, but it seems like there is no manager that is able to make this team play together?
Well, I feel like in the past, the FA have never had a kind of real plan. They've just offered the job to the person who was the flavour of the month, or it's kind of a weird system. But now they seem to have a bit of a plan. Southgate managed the under-21s. Now he's moved up to the full team. They've seen other countries do it, and maybe they're trying to take a step in their shoes. It will just take time. Southgate's been in the job for 4 years, so expectation will start to mount. But you know, we can be patient. It will come home eventually. We'll be fine.
It will come home eventually.
As long as it's in my lifetime, it's fine.
Actually, I think that Italy have a pretty good chance at winning the next Euro. So I watched the two games that they had against Bosnia that we tied 1-1. That was actually the first game that Italy drew after 10 wins in a row. That was actually a very good run. The game against Bosnia was not a good game. Chiellini wasn't playing, and the defense looked like they were missing someone like Chiellini. We got a goal against by Dzeko, where the defense just didn't move. They just stood where they were, and they allowed a very dumb goal to happen.
Yeah, I think Dzeko didn't really have to work hard for that one.
No.
He was kind of statues at the back.
Yeah, he played a good game, though. The second game that Italy played, they looked like a completely different team. Unfortunately, the second half was a bit slow, but the first half was bam, bam, bam. I really liked the way they were playing.
Yeah, towards the end, Italy tired, and the Netherlands started to push on a bit more, but a great performance. Unfortunate for Nicolo Zaniolo.
Very unfortunate. So my Instagram is just flooded with messages from football players wishing him to recover very soon. He played very well.
He looked so lively up until that happened.
He's very, very lively. And I mean, These are two pretty big injuries in the range of 7 months to go through, especially at a young age. He tore his right knee ACL in January, and right now his left knee's ACL. So the recovery,
that kind of bad luck is just
it's very sad to see. But he looks like a guy who's not giving up. He's gonna work hard to get back on the pitch. He really wants to play the Euro next summer. But the player that I'm loving the most for Italy right now, he's also an Inter player. I think he's had an insane season and he just keeps delivering. His name is Nicolo Barella, and he also scored against the Netherlands. And it feels like he's becoming Mancini is really giving him the keys of Italy's midfield.
Yeah, he's becoming the focal point for that team. I think when he plays well, as long as he plays well, Italy will play well. It's all focused around him. He wins the ball, he passes, he shoots, he runs, he never stops. He's a player that's impressed me for Inter since he signed. I think he's a player now that a lot of other teams will be going, damn, we should have come in and got him when we had the chance. And yeah, the header, he managed to work his way in between Van Dijk and Nathan Ake and get that header, and the cross from Immobile was just beautiful. I think it was the type of football that Italy haven't played for a while.
Yeah, it's also good to see Immobile, deliver assists and not only score goals. He's also a team player. Very nice. And also this week, a man who goes by the name of Cristiano Ronaldo. He scored his 101st goal in 165 games for Portugal. He's the first European to break the 100 goals wall. How about that, Rory?
This guy I think he's going to break the record for breaking records. Like he
already has. Probably.
He just breaks records.
He's also the only one who's won a Nations League.
yeah. He's the first captain to win the Nations League, right? Yeah. And he just breaks records every month. It feels like now. And what can you say about a player like him that hasn't been said? Just what a work ethic, what a talent, what a talisman for that nation. Just so impressive. So impressive.
This just makes Euro 2021 all the more exciting. The fact that Cristiano Ronaldo at this age is still delivering like many years ago is incredible.
And I tell you what, after having to wait an extra year, it better be a good tournament. And I think Ronaldo is going to be ready to snap that tournament up.
I think it's going to be a great tournament, and Italy are going to win it. What about Haaland, the goal-scoring machine from Norway?
So the guy who was genetically engineered in a laboratory to play football just keeps scoring goals. He put Northern Ireland to the sword this week in a game where he scored and got an assist. His goal in the game was ridiculous. It was kind of outside the area, knocked down to him with no lift back on his right foot, just straight in the top corner. Really, you should look for that goal on YouTube, guys. It's a really great goal, and he just shows his goal scoring record everywhere is jaw dropping. It's now 4 games for Norway and 3 goals, and in Dortmund it's I think 16 games, 14 goals. His record is just crazy. It's crazy.
The statistics about Haaland goals don't make that much of a sense. Sometimes I read it multiple times. I read numbers multiple times because I want to make sure I'm getting it right. And then when you realize it's actually right, you're like, wow.
It's kind of like the records you see like pre-war when it's like Sir Henry Whittingham scored 200 goals in a season. You're like, well, it wasn't real football. But now you're seeing it like, oh, wow. Like, okay, this is still happening, right?
And he was not the only youngster who had a great week. It was a very important week also for Eduardo Camavinga, who's a French international who just became the youngest debutant in the French national team at 17 years, 9 months, and 29 days
Can
of
you imagine?
age. He could be your son,
old.
Rory.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
He doesn't look much like me, I'll be honest.
No, he does not. But that was great to see. We also watched the highlights from that game, and he looks like a guy who has a very strong personality. He's a very solid midfielder. There is one play that we highly appreciated when he wins the ball back, and then he just drives the entire team towards the opposition's goal, and he shoots on target at the end.
Yeah, I don't know if this is kind of a thing with modern youngsters or just that this is the first time I'm noticing players younger than me, but they seem now to be much more able to make the step up to the professional game. If you look at Haaland, you look at Camavinga, and you look at Ansu Fati as well this week, these are players that are taking the step up almost effortlessly, like it just doesn't faze them. Like I know you wanted to talk about Fati because...
Yeah, he's become the youngest goal scorer in the Spanish national team after breaking many similar records throughout this year. One of which was becoming the youngest player to ever score in the Champions League against Inter Milan.
Of course,
he could have avoided that.
Milan.
We all knew he was a good player. He could have avoided that. But yeah. What are your general thoughts about the Nations League? Do you like it?
So I am a big fan of the Nations League. I think that it's a tournament that's going to mean a lot of development for the smaller nations who are used to getting beaten 8-0, 9-0. Like I've played for a team in the past where we weren't very good and we knew that we were going to get beaten every week, and it's hard work. I can only imagine what that's like when it's your country. So you see teams that are now being able to compete in games and pick up draws and pick up wins. And this is what I want to talk about this week. This is my feel-good story of the week, is the Faroe Islands.
Oh, the good old Faroe Islands.
Yeah, those minnows, but they are finally making moves, and they have got their first ever competitive back-to-back wins. So they went from beating Andorra 1-0 away to then beating Malta.
So it was very difficult to play at Andorra.
Oh, it's a tricky place.
It's a tricky stadium.
It's a cauldron.
The fans go crazy.
And they followed that up with a 3-2 win over Malta after being 2-1 down.
And we highly recommend you look up
this
the
goal.
free kick.
This goal, listeners, is unbelievable. So they scored in the 87th minute to equalise, and then followed that up with 90th minute free kick, just on the left, the outside of the box, maybe 25 yards out. Hendrickson Olsen strikes it with his right foot, bends it around the wall and somehow into the top left-hand corner. And again, you should look up this goal on YouTube. It is incredible. And the scenes afterwards, despite there being no crowd in the stadium, he runs straight into the stands, straight into his teammates, and you can see how much it means to them. And I think this is why the Nations League is great. Because the teams will start to get competitive. They can start working on systems. They can start working on, tactics, rather than just, can we keep it below 5 this week? Yeah. If you know what I mean. So I think that's why, I think it's a positive thing.
It's a positive thing. I just wish the rules were a little clearer and the structure, not the rules, the structure of the tournament was a little clearer. And now, Rory, you told me you have a question for us. You have a little quiz.
Yes, so coming up now is the highly anticipated Rory's Game.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Hello, and welcome to Rory's Quiz. That's the name for now until we think of something a bit more creative. So, in this game, the rules are, I'm going to say the teams that a player has played for, and from those teams, you need to guess who the player is, okay? You will have a chance to ask 3 questions afterwards that you can answer yes or, that I can answer even, yes or no. And then at the end of the show, I will reveal the answer after, of course, you have guessed.
Yeah, I will try it.
So, come on down, Tommaso Adami.
Hello. I'm pretty nervous today in front of my biggest celebrity, my favorite celebrity, Roy Criscuolo.
It's right, this always happens. You can calm down, don't worry. So, I'm going to give you a few of the teams that this guy has played for.
All right.
Because some of them, even for me, are a bit obscure. So, he played for Africa Sports.
Is that a team?
It's on his Wikipedia page.
All right.
He played for Monaco.
All right, that's more of a team.
He played for Paris Saint-Germain.
Mm-hmm.
He played for the other team in Milan, AC Milan.
The second team of Milan.
He then went on loan to Chelsea, spent a further year at Manchester City, and then played for Marseille, and finally Al Jazeera.
All right.
Not the TV station.
Yeah, that always sounds like one of the best steps in a man's career. He goes to...
I'm sure the wage was quite attractive.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right, so we've got Africa Sports. Who doesn't know about Africa Sports? I do, I don't. Monaco, PSG, AC Milan, and then he said Chelsea, City, Marseille, and then Al Jazeera, not the TV channel.
Finishing on a high.
All right. So the 3 questions I am going to ask you is... The first one is... Has this player retired within the last 5 years?